as to how much budget would you receive for a certain year? Kayo ho ba yung nagbibigay ng program sa kanila nung maging budget ninyo, or sila na lang na-decide for you?
We submit our proposed budget every year po, and it goes around 200 to 300 million. And
And ini-slash po nila yon.
CHED determines internally our budget. So when they present it to DBM, it appears that it's slashed to a mere 20 million.
So ano pong justification ang binibigyan nila sa inyo kapag ini-slash po nila yung budget, yung proposed program na ipinisinta nyo sa kanila for your budget needs for that year? So wala ko silang binibigay na reason?
Wala pong binibigay na reason. The only reason we may say that were discovered was that through the letter of CHED to DBM that we are categorized for all these years as a project of CHED and not as an agency attached to CHED for budgetary purposes.
So hindi po kayo nagpa-file ng motion for reconsideration, if you will call that, if you can call that, na para i-challenge sila na teka muna mga taga-CHED, ito talagang kailangan namin, and we know better than you kasi kami naman talaga ang nandito at ang nagpapagod at gumagawa ng trabaho at hindi naman talaga kayo.
Hindi po kasi po first of all, we don't receive any feedback from CHED on how.
No feedback whatsoever?
No feedback whatsoever.
They just slash the budget, and then they don't give you the courtesy of letting you know, hey, we slashed this because number one, itong reason, number two, ito, number three, four, walang ganon.
Hindi po, and not only that.
So disrespectful itong mga taga-CHED sa inyo. Kahit dapat talaga maghiwalay-hiwalay na, magsulian na ng kandila.
Opo, ganun po. Kasi there was even a time.
Bastusan tong ginagawa sa inyo ng CHED.
I would not disagree with that, Your Honor. There was even a time where now Speaker Martin Romualdez, formerly the Majority Floor Leader, instructed, or I think sent a letter to CHED after we had seen him to increase the budget of the LAB to give additional 50 million. That fell on deaf ears. And recently, Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, also during the budget season, instructed CHED to give additional, again, 50 million. Again, that fell on deaf ears. So we didn't receive any more than 20 million for this year as well.
What could be the reason ba't ginagawa to sa inyo ng CHED?
Siguro po marami. I'd like to think that marami lang po talaga silang ginagawa. But then again, if that goes on, wala na rin po kami magagawa. Sila marami, pero wala kami magagawa.
I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. Ang sa akin lang kasi, Mr. Chair, kapastusan tong ginagawa ng CHED. Kung mag-slash sila ng budget ninyo na pinaghirapan niyo po yan na i-formulate kung ano yung nakakaganda para sa mga programa ninyo, sa ahensya ninyo, and then i-slash lang ng CHED ng ganun-ganun na lang without even telling you why and how and the reason really bakit they come up with this decision na para mag-slash ng budget. So kabastusan itong ginagawa ng CHED, Mr. Chair. Kaya talaga, ang aking request, magkahiwalay-hiwalay na kayo. Kumalas na kayo sa CHED. Kung ganito rin lang nangyayari every single year. Tama? Every year, ganito na lamang?
That's also our hope, Your Honor.
So lumilitaw, itong CHED thinks they're God. They can just do anything they want without explaining, without explanation.
Yes.
Parang they think they're God.
With the permission of Senator Tulfo, maybe clarify, kanino nyo sinasubmit yung budget nyo?
We submitted to CHED po, Mr. Chair.
And it's CHED that submits the budget
Yes.
of LEB to
To
the
the DBM. Opo.
Number two, for the information of Senator Tulfo, kahit sinong congressman at senador pwede magdagdag sa budget. But when they ask CHED to add to it, it means CHED should subtract from its existing programs. Kung kaya nga kumuha ng pondo para magpagawa ng kali sa isang barangay, but hindi kaya kumuha ng pondo mula sa ibang item sa budget para bigyan kayo ng 50 million. Can we hear Senator Tulfo from CHED?
Yes, pero prior to that,
Please
before
continue.
that,
Sorry,
okay.
sorry. Please continue.
So, yeah, I follow what Senator Cheese, thank you, Mr. Chair, na after you submitted your proposed budget to CHED, and then CHED would submit it to DBM, right? And saan po nang gagaling yung pag-slash? Would that be from CHED pa lang, ini-slash na, o pagdating sa DBM? And then kapag na-slash na ng, halimbawa, DBM nag-slash, does DBM inform CHED the reason? And then CHED should inform LEB. Go ahead, CHED, please.
Ako na sasagot nun,
Okay.
Senator Tulfo.
Thank you.
Because I was chair of
Senator Keith.
finance for several years.
Okay.
Actually, DBM gives a ceiling or budget cap for each agency. Each agency will make of a dream scenario sometime this time of the year, February. Di ba? Budget call ngayon eh. So magsasubmit sila ng mga pangarap na budget ng kada ahensya, LEB included, SHED included, which would run in the billions. In the case of LEB, which would run in the hundreds of millions. And then DBM, between February and May, will sift through it. They will go back and forth with the respective agencies, trying to haggle and discuss within their respective caps kung ano yung ilalagay, isasama, hindi isasama, dadagdagan, babawasan. And this would all depend on the priorities of the President, given that it's the President's budget that will be submitted to Congress. Once it's submitted to Congress, you're correct, sir. It has been a practice na pag binawasan, tinatanggap na lamang ng mga ahensya yon. Hindi pinag-aawayan yun, hindi kino-question. They just accept the fact that that was the ceiling given to them. And there have been several conflicts between, for example, Congress, the Senate, Supreme Court, the independent constitutional commissions, whenever their budgets are slashed by DBM in the executive's proposal with respect to the proposed GAA. But at the end of the day, it is not discussed. LEB is not unique. It's not discussed with the agencies why it was slashed, what was the purpose why it was slashed, only that you have to work within these limits. Now when it reaches Congress, we have the power to reallocate these funds. We don't have the power to increase the budget, but we do have the power to reallocate items included in the budget and place it wherever we may propose and vote upon by plenary. So yun yung kwento ng budget. Malungkot, pero yun yung
Pero Mr. Chair, tama nga naman kayo, and then they have the right to slash according to what the President would dictate. Pero sa akin lang naman po, bilang kortesiya, at least man lang itong mga agency na na-slash yung budget, must be informed para malaman nila kung saan yung parte ng na hiniling nila na budget ay hindi na pala dapat kailangan pa o kailangan magtipid sila sa particular line of budget na kanilang ni-request. Kasi naman, Mr. Chair, sa pagkakaalam ko, pag mga favorite agencies, hindi na-slash yung mga budget. Hindi na po ako mag-mention.
Isa lang naman ang favorite agency eh.
Hirap pa magbanggit, Mr. Chair. Meron pa iba na hindi ini-slash, pero pag yung mga hindi paboritong agency, slash na slash. Yan ang nakakalungkot po, Mr. Chair. Pag paborito nila, kulang pa to, dagdagan niyo pa to. Pagdating sa nadadagdagan pa. Pag, di ba?
I'll let you
Sa
praise
ICAM.
Dr. Tulfo. It's okay. AFP modernization is always increased year on year compared to the previous year's proposal. DPWH budget is increased year on year compared to the proposal submitted by the President. The same is true for UP, including PGH.